Welcome back to another episode of Next Generation's First Generation. I'm Patrick Delmore.
And I am Sascha Shouties. So if you are new to the program, this is what we call a watch-along series where we will be watching episodes of Star Trek Next Generation and commenting on how the show impacted us as youth and then also looking back as grown adults. So in my case, I was born in 1979. The episode that we're watching now is called The Last Outpost, which aired October 19th, 1987. So it would have just been turning about 8 years old. And Patrick?
And I was 5, and I know for a fact this is the first episode of Star Trek The Next Generation I ever saw. It was a big deal because, of course, I was a Reading Rainbow fan as a kid. Always watched it on PBS. And we've been seeing ads, my family and I had been seeing ads for Star Trek, the original series, and Next Generation playing together. And there was a song in the background, which we've been looking for, actually uses a theme for this show, you may have heard at the top of the show already, called My Mama Was an Alien, that would play along with this. And because I saw that LeVar Burton was in the episode, my parents decided that we would all watch it when it aired. So it'll be interesting to rewatch this again, because it's been a good number of years since I've seen this. So my mind will be drawn back to the past, to being 5, almost 6 years old.
Wow.
In October 1987.
So let's go ahead and hit that play button.
Yep, we're hitting play in 5, 4, 3, 2, and go.
And here's opening credits. Captain's log.
The high-peaked tone of the show. This is the introduction of the Ferengi.
Apparently the Ferengi, excuse me.
Fronger.
They stole some equipment and the Enterprise is on the case. Now this is very interesting because within the first 20 episodes of the season, you see a very large build-up of narrative. The Ferengi, are they there to, compete for the space? They don't really sell the Ferengis as businessmen. Right now, they just sell them as a mysterious empire in space that we're starting to slowly encounter episode after episode.
And the ship was not, to me, a memorable ship, because I grew up on Deep Space Nine later on, and I would always think, I never see Ferengi ships. I think the first time I remember seeing a Ferengi ship was a micro machine of a Ferengi ship.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow, yeah. Boy, I haven't seen micro machines in a long time. Yeah. So, the Enterprise has encountered a Ferengi ship. There's Tasha.
It looks like a creature from Batteries Not Included.
Yeah, that's right. It has these nice swooping arcs. Almost actually reminds me of a mushroom.
Should ask if they can fix the tiles on the roof of the bridge.
So I noticed that watching a few episodes, Geordi likes to say "hello, stranger" a lot. He did that when the Klingons were first introduced in episode 20 or 21, I believe.
Now, I look at Geordi and I always think, this is the guy that believes every problem can be solved with, "Whoa! Slow down there!" And we know from Voyager that he does become a captain, so it'd be interesting to see how that panned out. Yeah. Some fan fiction writer should take that on. I'm sure they already have.
So there's some very vague firing going on from the Ferengi ship.
Troy's concerned. Watch out.
Picard's like, don't worry about it. They're just nervous and shooting at us. We won't do anything to make them worried. That is a good looking ship.
Oh, yeah. The underside of this is great. It's been so long since I've seen it.
And look, you can almost see a shuttlecraft that can detach from underneath.
Yeah, the front of it looks very different than the back of it. Or the back looks different than the front.
It almost looks like a weapon you can hold and stab somebody with.
Yeah, don't let the Packlands get a hold of it.
Right.
We can use you. You're a thing.
We're strong now.
Yeah.
What I really liked about Next Gen watching this when I was a child was all the different ships. I loved the ships. I thought it was really cool to just jump into one and go wherever you wanted. And so seeing new ships, like the Ferengi ship, I thought it was pretty neat. I always wanted to walk the corridors, see the rooms, check them out. And we never really got that experience in Next Gen.
No, or on the big Ferengi show, which was Deep Space Nine.
Mm-hmm. All they ever used were shuttlecraft.
Yeah.
I
you got to
really
see their
strange.
planet, and here comes, if I remember this correctly, a huge close-up of a Ferengi is about to pop up on the screen.
Alright, so this is when HD mattered.
Yep.
Oh, we are in the credits, opening credits, so I'm not seeing a nebula here.
CG. Circles are easy in CG.
There's
CG.
Jupiter.
Model.
Saturn was a model.
Yep.
Wow.
Called it the existing planet.
I did notice in the opening credits they do pull away a couple of different variations. Sometimes Saturn pulls away to the right, other times it raises up to the center and pans away that direction. There's the Enterprise going to warp. So in this episode, I was saying earlier how they were trying to foreshadow the Ferengi were this big empire, the local mean guy that they're going to have to eventually fulfill a story arc, and that just kind of faded away. And I never really understood that.
It did a little bit. There are a couple episodes later on where the Ferengi are a legitimate threat.
Ah, okay.
It takes more than a minute to get there.
There's Michael Dorn. I would have to say he was one of my favorite characters, not because I liked who the character was as a person, but they had the most time to develop his character over 2 shows, really. 16, 17 years?
Yep. Not that long.
No?
1987 to 1999, I want to say.
Okay.
So we're looking at 12 years.
Wow. Alright, so we are back. The last Outpost. We have a face-off between the Enterprise.
And the first Ferengi is the most famous Ferengi, Armin Shimmerman.
Now, that is also the actor who plays Quark, correct?
Yep.
Very interesting. Well, they wrote the character.
Yeah.
Oh, man, you can hear the footfalls on the set.
I love that, though.
Yeah.
They eventually had to start wearing slippers, though.
Really?
Yep. When you can't see their feet, they have little slippies on.
So they can't talk to engineering. They've sent LaForge down to check it out, a runner. Cold read from Diana.
Yeah. If I spill on this suit, it's ruined.
You know, I never really understood
Purple
her
velvet.
role. Yeah. Her role was really confusing.
Well, I like that they eventually allude to the fact that... whoops.
We eventually allude to
the fact that other alien races see her that same way. It's Picard's telepath.
almost like an aid. Okay. So Data is being the Wikipedia of the show. He is telling Picard and Riker who the Ferengi are, comparing them to Yankee traders.
Yeah. It's funny because you would think that Data would have had access to, slang dictionaries, all kinds of stuff, and yet he really does not understand, idioms or
I'd never really
turns
thought
of
about
phrases. I mean, this is stuff that's been, documented since our time.
Yeah. So, LaForge hasn't reported back. Now they're sending Riker. How many runners are they going to send down to engineering?
Yeah, send the second most important guy.
Oh, Worf doesn't know who Uncle Sam is. He's like, Uncle who? What?
Yeah. His name was forbidden to be mentioned by the Russians who raised me.
Oh, here's where we first find out that Picard is from France.
The blood of every man.
Never understood why they hired a Brit to play a Frenchman. That's... Someone from the Napoleonic era must be pissed. So they don't really know how powerful the Ferengi are. And I don't want to throw in any spoilers, but their ship is...
It's a metaphor that, or it's a simile that works well today. Is the Ferengi are like trolls. I think this is the first time we've seen the engineering table on this show.
True. Yeah.
We've seen the corner of the room and their isolinear chips, but the famous table that everybody stands at in engineering is the first time we've seen it.
And he looks so natural at it, too.
Yeah.
And the way he explains things. So this is really before the age of technobabble on this show. They don't really do the educated explanation than the dumbed-down version. See, and there he is just saying, "Hey, we're gonna pop in the clutch and
you
start
can see
shooting
this
guns."
was, this was a good episode to start with because it's very LeVar Burton heavy.
Yeah, that's true. A lot of them are actually.
It's like, yep, you thought I was a helmsman. Turns out I'm an engineer.
Well, there are a number of times I'm kind of jumping around, but this is just a few episodes in, but he's already had his hand at the command, I think, once or twice. So,
yes.
So Worf is saying, we need to kick butt. So they're getting ready to fight the Ferengi.
Picard's rubbing his hands.
Honestly, if this was a real conflict, this is moving way too slow.
Yeah. Well, this is what it would be like in outer space, though.
Yeah?
It would take a really... Especially if they didn't have, big weapons. Everything would take a really long time. Have you ever read any, hard sci-fi by Neil Stephenson or anything? It's a lot of just, in space, it's all math.
Oh.
There's very little face-to-face communications. It's math is math everywhere you go, and
actually, it reminds me of The Martian, where he used math to establish a communication protocol.
Yes. Oh, look at that great belt.
Here's what's really funny is that they're doing the Picard maneuver here before it was called the Picard maneuver. Yeah. They're going to go into Warp 9, drop out, and fire.
Of course, I just call the Picard maneuver fixing your shirt, but...
I always thought it was something you did in the bathroom.
Yeah.
So the Enterprise is doing the equivalent of spinning its tires. All the lights dim down. So if you've ever had a car with a weak battery and you try to turn it and all the lights dim down, that's exactly what happened on the Enterprise. And everybody is unhappy.
Yeah, you hope you're not driving your date somewhere when that happens.
Or sometimes you do. I mean, it's nice to get stuck in a car with your gal. Uh-oh. So Data's noticing that all the databanks are being read.
What do the rules of acquisition say about stealing?
Boy, an old girlfriend of mine gave me a book of the rules of acquisition. I've got to go look that up.
Because I don't think that theft is okay.
Theft without profit.
Yeah.
So the only reason you would steal something is if you can turn around and sell it. So,
yeah. Well, they're profiting by learning the information.
I never understood the transition from the bridge to the observation deck. So you would have everybody on the bridge go to the observation deck. That's fine. They imply that it's right behind the mission stations there in the back. But in other times, when you see people in the observation lounge, I should say, you can see a corridor.
Yes.
Sometimes, and other times it's a door to the bridge. So it seems like there's a continuity problem there.
Yeah, the ship is basically The Shining. I mean, you wouldn't want the regular passengers knowing where the meeting room was for the ship. Although, no, I'm wrong about this, because later on, they'll have, like, Captain Picard Day in there.
Yeah.
Turn on all the lights.
There was a really nice CGI walkthrough of the Enterprise that was done. I'll have to look it up and
yeah,
let
we'll
you
link
know.
it in the show notes.
But there are two doors that enter the observation deck, or lounge, I should say. So one suggests that that's kind of the public entry point, and then you have the restricted entry point on the other side, right behind where Picard sits, as that leads to the bridge. So you can have your security protocol in place where if you need to call Sammy from 9th grade to come show off his artwork to the captain, he doesn't have to enter the bridge to get to the lounge. He can just come in through the lighting. I just looked up at the screen and the lighting is awful in this scene. You can see the set lights.
Well, I don't like that they're standing where Picard has to look up at Riker. They didn't really do that much. They usually stood on a plane where their heads were at the same level.
Yeah.
Having Picard walk right up to Riker's chest like that looks really strange.
Attention, Ferengi Sascha. This is Captain Picard. It is obvious we are in a situation here which needs resolving.
So Picard is trying to negotiate over comm frequencies because really they haven't gotten anywhere in the plot yet. They're stuck.
This was
they don't
great.
know why they're
this
stuck.
was great fun for a 5-year-old. It was just really, it was waiting for LeVar to come back, and I mean, at least in this episode, you know, he's super animated. It brings a kid into it.
Yeah. Well, just as you were attracted to LeVar, I was attracted to Data. Anything that he did just really interested me. He knew a lot of things. He was super, I guess, he could do a lot of things better than most people other than the social aspect. And maybe that interested me as well, because when I was first watching this series, I had a really hard time making friends. I was an emotionally adverse school district where it was just tough being a kid. And this was my escape, and I escaped into the characters themselves, and I was really drawn to Mr. Data.
The interesting thing about Data is that we didn't talk about autism a lot in the late 80s, early 90s, or Asperger's. And my mom had a really good friend who we think now probably had undiagnosed Asperger's.
Really?
And I was asking her one time when he was coming over, you know, what's the deal with this guy? And she said, you know, he had, and I'm probably in 3rd or 4th grade at this point. And she says, well, he has a hard time connecting emotionally to things. And I said, oh, like Data on Star Trek. And she laughed. It was like, actually a lot like that.
That's a beautiful analogy. I hadn't even thought about that, because Data has a hard time processing social context. He takes things somewhat literally, or will have to stop and double check. Is this what you mean? Mm-hmm. He has a hard time knowing when to positively or negatively respond to situations until he's got a firm reading on the room. Wow.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
That's why one thing you can say, gripe all you want about Wesley Crusher, he is a very positive example of what it is like when a non-autistic person is friends with a person that is autistic.
Huh.
And he is his friend, too.
Yeah. I know in this series I dump a lot on Wesley, but I really do like where they went with the character. We don't see him enough in good situations. Yeah. Let's put it that way.
Well, they had, after the first season of the show, Will Wheaton, who plays Wesley, got a phone call that there was a Star Trek convention that had a panel called The Wesley Problem.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
That must have hurt.
And it was in his neighborhood, too. He had to, like...
So, we are looking at the Ferengi for the first time, and he's behind a white screen. This is... The name of the actor is what?
Armin Shimmerman.
Really? He looks nothing like
Yeah,
his older
different makeup.
self.
Data being snarky. They're still trying to figure out the character.
Yeah. So I don't know why Tasha and Worf are standing so close to each other in the background. It's a little strange. Oh, see, there we go. There's the hallway and kids in the...
That's funny. The very episode where you have kids playing in the meeting room.
I'm telling you.
I'd say that, they must not be able to find it. But yep, there's the corridor.
And other times that just goes... Now, I love this projection disc. I vividly remember this as a kid. I knew exactly what Chinese finger traps were, and I thought that was the most hilarious thing ever. That they took a break from the show to just throw in a little bit of dry humor. So Data's giving his presentation, and you're about to see a heads-up display come up out of the desk. Which is brilliant. I don't think they use this technology enough.
Right. Well, we saw this with the Death Star in Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a better version of it, but still, one side just mirrors the other, as you can see watching this.
True.
And we're not watching the enhanced version of it. It may actually be different in the enhanced version.
Yeah, I don't remember what the enhanced was, but that's pretty good for 1987 right there.
It's the budget of the whole show.
So Data is stuck in a Chinese finger trap, and he's afraid to break it. You know, he's got super strength.
Yeah, I was going to say, he has some kind of a protocol not to break the thing.
Unless there's a pressure sensor in his finger where he's like, oh, okay, I can't do it because it's kind of like rubbing the belly of the alligator. Picard, the hero. Picard is very impatient in the first 20 episodes.
Yeah.
Could you please stop this childish nonsense and get back to work?
It's just not that awesome dragon Chinese finger cuffs from the Addams Family. That would have sucked.
So we kind of got off topic. Data's giving a presentation of this empire that built an outpost. For some reason, they realized that this planet might be an outpost. Oh, and look at that. There's a nice
the famous
display.
LaForge whistle.
So we are seeing a graphic of a planet reaching out and grabbing the two ships with lightning coming from a very specific point.
You could say it's reaching out across the moonlight. Electric light is everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
See those ships? You know they're watching. Likes the way it stares.
Wow. I don't know how to react to that. So that's the Takan Empire, if we missed it. A civilization that lived 60,000 years ago in the past, and for some reason went extinct during a supernova. And I never understood this. In Trek, they get so many things right, but they also get so many things wrong.
It would have been great if the kids had just run right back in the second kids all left.
So I can remember at least 3 or 4 examples where you had an interstellar civilization, multiple solar systems, and then something goes supernova and wipes them out. But when something goes supernova, it only really affects that one star system.
Mm-hmm.
Unless maybe it was so catastrophic that it disrupted, kind of like throwing rocks at a bee's nest, where if the bees feel, if the bees feel so threatened that they just up and leave and are just dispersed.
I like that he, instead of the cloth thing at the back of the head that they wear, he's got like a chainmail one almost.
Does he?
Yeah. I'll look at it when they show it again.
I notice sometimes Ferengis don't have anything back
Right,
there.
because it's just a part of their costume. It's like the Bajoran earring. See what he's got?
Oh, yeah. I like that tattoo in the front.
Yep.
We seek only what is equitable. What did you seek? Why did you begin by attacking us? We did not attack you. We gave chase.
So there's discussion on who attacked whom.
Which we know is
You can see where the prosthetic attaches, unfortunately. They really brought it in too tight.
Yeah. Well, I think they wanted to have a disorienting shot.
Yeah.
suggesting otherwise.
Though I never understood the animal pelt that he's wearing.
What I'm saying is,
Yeah, they really didn't go back to them having that.
now calling us thieves. On the contrary,
On the contrary.
issues of property or territory while our mutual problem remains. Like it or not, we are both trapped by this.
They're both trapped. They need to leave. I believe this is called Damon Tar, is the gentleman they're talking to. And Mr. Damon Tar.
They would know what a swap is.
We will tell you what we know about the planet, and in trade, you will give us yours.
The ski swap. The Ferengi ski swap.
We must trust each other, Tom. Amusing to find
The teeth are great.
And I'm glad they kept those.
this relationship.
Now it says here, I hate to prove you wrong, my friend. It says here, Tar was played by an actor called Mike Gomez.
Okay.
Now, to be clear, though, I'm getting this information from memoryalpha.wiki.com. So, Memory Alpha is a great place to get as much information as you can handle on Canon Track. But I know that Mr. Sherman is in this
Yep.
episode.
And he was the first guest star credited.
He's the landing party.
Oh, we just missed it. So right behind Yar a second ago, there was almost like a Lady Riker.
A Lady Riker?
She had the same hairstyle. Yeah.
Ah.
You just got her back to us now, but just for a second, it was very like...
Oh, Troy, you're talking.
Yeah.
She sensed something.
Yeah, exactly. That's pretty much what Riker pretty much reacted in the same way. He looked at her like, I'll acknowledge you while you're speaking, but...
There are times when I talk over my wife by accident,
Yeah.
and she'll say, "That's okay, I'm just a woman." And I'm like, no, that's not what I meant. I'm just...
See, that would relieve Riker to hear that. Now, here comes the first scene I really remember seeing in just a minute here. This is important. Alright, so
We're
we got the
beaming
beam
to
down.
the planet. A party
It
of
ain't
five.
gonna be a smooth beaming, let me tell you.
One of the cooler Planet Hell sets, by the way.
Yeah. Got the Kryptonian crystals. Big stumps. It's not a play until you have a big stump in it.
A lot of dead trees. Riker's by himself. Looks around.
He's like, oh,
Where's everybody?
Where's the dry ice? Don't want it to ruin my shoes.
Is anybody out there?
It's getting harder and harder to breathe. Baby, it's the last outpost. I got nobody to love.
Wouldn't want to get stuck there. Nice atmosphere.
Yeah.
For the original series.
I mean, you can tell he's chroma keyed in there. That was a famous scene in an episode that we probably will not review, which is the Riker gets stuck by the thorn and remembers all the stuff that happened in season 1 and 2.
The clip show.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I don't know. We should
Yeah.
do that one drunk.
Yes.
Yeah, we should have a few beers. So there's Data.
Data. It's
He's
like,
checking out his geology skills there.
it's like, if I stick the right one in here, I'll be able to communicate with my dead father. Oh,
There's enough
yeah.
topaz and crystal here to open up a shop in Arizona.
walking, looking at crystals, talking.
Maybe we could take
Looking
this
at
to Burning Man.
crystals. We're on a planet. He's smelling it.
Did you hear that?
No, I missed it. What did he say?
Data said nothing to write home about. Oh,
Yeah.
Data.
Well, Riker certainly noticed.
He's like, hey, you're trying to act like one of us. Stop it.
Yeah. One of us. One of us.
The human characters in the show, at least for the first couple seasons, are very two-dimensional, where if it's not human, it's to be feared and mistrusted. And they're even a little hard on Data.
Geordi hanging upside down somehow. Which...
He's resting.
How the transporters work, unless he went into the transporter upside down. Well, I guess he could have landed like above the branch, flipped over, and caught himself.
Well, the technical explanation, which we missed, was when they beamed down, the crystals on the planet scattered the beam. And we still haven't found Tasha yet.
Oh dear.
I remember this in a promo.
Yep.
Look at Data.
Data, that's great.
His
Ball
arms
with his
are
arms
up.
sticking straight up. Where there's a whip, there is a way.
That looked like a nice bowling throw there.
It's a shame you never see the electric whips again.
No, those are pretty cool.
It'd be hecka handy to have one of those. Especially in a business deal. No!
So, the power is going out on both ships.
I wonder why they needed to stick that red thing right in front of the camera in that last shot.
Boy, I don't know.
Something must have been there they couldn't figure out how to shoot around. And they just needed to stick something in the way.
So it's getting cold on the ship. There's a really great scene here where they think they're going to die, and Crusher says, I think I'm going to give Wesley a palliative to make him feel better before he dies. Picard just says, no, let him face death like a man.
No reason to be wiggling his fingertips the way that he is, but... And then they focus on, like, those 3 fingers. It's like, hey, kids, E.T. Remember E.T.? It's only been 5 years. E.T.
Oh, there's Worf. They found him. They're dragging him unconscious. They being the Ferengi.
That'd be quite a prize for them. They got a Klingon.
Yeah. Every zoo should have one.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you, Romulan Admiral or whatever they're called from Deep Space Nine. Made that joke. There's Mr. Sherman right there. He's talking now. It tastes like...
This guy talking to him is basically Droppo from Santa Claus Conquers the Martian.
The Ferengi cannot
Loud
take the
things
noise.
are loud!
So, if their ears are also a sexual organ and they're covering their ears in pain, can they self-soothe as they're experiencing pain?
Probably. You gotta wonder if you see like a Ferengi itching his ear.
Yeah, it's like, put your hands down.
Yeah.
I know what you're doing. It's not loud in here, you pervert. Oh, and it's a surprise attack. Everybody's picked a Ferengi.
Data as usual. I used to have one of these action figures of the guys from this episode. It was weird because his foot was bent. I mean, it came that way. Oh, look at Data fake fall over.
I remember them in the action figures. They had the
whip. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my gosh! It's a clothed woman.
Would say that I would bet on the whip against the phaser. Because if he's fast enough, he can just whip the phaser out of her hand and it'll fall somewhere weird.
True. Those phasers are big.
Yeah. Now, the original Star Trek The Next Generation toys that were not from the Toy Biz set. Or no, Star Trek The Next Generation, the main ones were from Playmates.
Oh.
But the original figures were about 6 inches. No, they were smaller than that. Like between my thumb and forefinger here. They're about that high. And their arms moved up and down, and their legs were articulated a little bit. But they didn't have any other articulation than that. And they all had a phaser in their hand.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. They're not very detailed.
Some memorable quotes from this episode are, "It appears the Ferengi have us right where they want us.
And now they're going to eat us."
Yes.
Yes, it's a male perspective. I am a man, damn it. Dr. Crusher.
Oh, that was the should we kill Wesley conversation.
Ask a stupid question, get a stupid answer. Beverly.
That's a cool effect.
Yeah.
So they're firing their phasers, but the electricity is getting electricity.
So the whips work, but the crystal. Oh, now the whips don't work.
His whip is broken. It's fully erect.
Yeah.
And that's why they don't use the whips anymore.
Crystal blue persuasion.
So earlier,
Jordy's pointed out.
Litek, the one of the Ferengis, was saying it looks like gold, it tastes like gold, it is gold. And what's frustrating is that Next Gen can't make up its mind if gold is valuable or invaluable, because they introduced gold pressed latinum in Deep Space Nine.
But the latinum is what's valuable, not the gold.
True. And it's clearly said that the gold is worthless without the latinum. But here, they're really interested in the gold of the communication badge. So, I don't know.
Behold, Space Moses!
I'm getting a Wizard of Oz vibe here.
Or Jor-El again, with all these crystals.
Oh, yeah, Jor-El. Superman?
They could be a great people, Riker. Me?
Well, technically you're already in the Empire, but okay. So the portal is basically customs for this Empire that no longer exists.
Very well. What is your favorite color?
Green, no blue! Whoa! Now, what's interesting is that the Guardian, he's manifested himself into a body, and he's holding a pike for some reason, and I don't really understand why.
Pikes are cool.
Yeah. Unless maybe 600,000 years ago they had aliens on horseback trying to enter the Mongolians. That's what it was.
They were like horses, but they had a funny-sounding prefix.
Oh, Data. Giving us a lesson in what's going down.
Yeah. Enough! Look at me play with my cloak. I'm just a sad LARPer.
Why didn't they pull the silence thing? He could have done it perfectly. Silence! Yeah, Data always gets cut off. They ask him what's going on. He gives them way too much information. Then they just essentially say, "We're good. Thank you. Stop talking." Uh-oh.
They're just like,
Ferengi
make as outrageous as gestures as possible. And Enterprise crew, in order to counter that, don't move a whole lot at all. Just kind of stand there.
Well, they're trying to make them look like barbarians, savages.
I mean, we'll mess up Worf's wig, but yeah. They came to burgle Carnegie Hall.
But they really laid down the framework of
Some crazy troll accused you of doing something. I'm going to take this very seriously.
Yep. This is a good episode because they really laid down the framework of the attitude of the Ferengi right here.
Yeah.
Where I'm your friend, believe everything I say. It's this guy's fault. So it's very much about deflection and redirection and then manipulation. It's basically like the low self-esteem narcissist.
Yeah, it's not quite Brunt though. Brunt's the guy that you go, yeah, I could see him sidling up to me and trying to be my buddy.
Brunt was a very unique creature. I mean, he was the intelligent Ferengi. We don't see him until the Deep Space Nine series, but really he could have been the Ferengi the entire civilization could have been.
Mm.
It's hard to take these Ferengi seriously because you can call their BS in about 2 or 3 minutes.
Yeah. She's like, seriously? I could hit one of you and make the other two fall down.
These weird monkey movements.
Yeah.
Now it's interesting. So the Ferengi just said to Tasha, "You're clothed, and that just invites me to unclothe you." And the first thought I have right now is, I hear that about women who wear burqas or shawls or whatnot. I've heard commentary. The attitude is you should cover them up because it might tempt sexual perversion. I don't necessarily agree with that, but I've heard that argued. I've also heard it argued the other way, is that I'll dress how I want, thank you very much, and I can dress conservatively or not.
Yeah, which is, I mean, this was the attitude of the 24th century.
Yeah.
And I think more power to him. I mean, this was, you know, if they'd had it Roddenberry's way, you would have seen a lot more men in onesies on this show. So.
Oh, well, Angel 1 took care of that.
Yeah.
I think that's coming up in the next episode or two.
Yeah.
So, a lot of talk back and forth, but the Guardian of the Outpost has basically said, it's time for a challenge, and Riker, you're the guy.
Worf would be like, okay, I'm looking at his weapon, and it is blunt.
I didn't understand this even as a kid.
No.
I was just thinking, it's like, what? The conversation just completely lost me.
Yeah. Beer? Oh, no, it's not beer. Beer's our friend. Worf's like, I know that. I know that. I know that.
Sun Tzu wasn't just a philosopher, wasn't he a general
Yeah.
too? I actually remember having a hard time at a job once, and I started reading Sun Tzu for some advice. Like, man, what crazy advice can I use to get out of these awkward situations? Helped a little bit. Well, the power's coming on.
Now what?
The ship is powering up.
Oh, I guess that was a man the whole time.
Oh,
The
sorry,
girly Riker.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, Beverly dropping formalities. At least everyone died at their
Kara's
post.
like, I want to die next to two beautiful women.
This is all going in everybody's annual review. You are ready to die at your post.
Yep. Yeah, hell of a review after this season. It's like, I promise you it's going to get better with me as the captain. It's a weird torso-shaped crystal there. Like skeletal torso. Oh, I see where. Yeah. I thought there was a hole in the middle at the top of another crystal.
These guys
Are we jumping and gyrating enough? We can jump and gyrate more. Not less, though.
They do.
Look at us wiggle.
They do calm it down, though. They don't.
Oh yeah.
Like they still kind of have that slumped over
Yep.
stance when they're agitated.
Yeah,
They remind me of monkeys.
Yes. Well, they kind of, if you notice Ferengi's walking, they kind of clench their butts and chug along. Yeah, friendship. Ooh, look at me, I'm doing things. Oh, gotta go. Oh, here I come again. Oh, where are we going? I'm in the shot. Am I in the shot? I'm in the shot. Now I'm in the shot. Ooh, look at me. Oh, that guy's up on the rock. Shall we get up there? I don't know. Don't get up there. No, let's go. No, don't. I don't think there's room.
Quick, throw him
There's probably a weight limit. Just wiggle. Are you okay up on the rock? Yep, keep wiggling. Oh, the loud noise.
So the Guardian disappears.
Yeah.
Apparently it was resolved.
Man, Riker looks pissed.
The ship's turned back
I don't think we ever
on.
see Riker look that mad again. A lot worse shit happens to him.
Yeah. They never got their energy converter back.
No.
The whole reason why they were chasing them in the first place. What? Data, stop talking.
There's a Spock joke.
So now everybody has these finger traps.
Yeah. Data, of course, sees being called human as a compliment. It was always a dig when they said it about Spock.
Huh. Yeah. You know, to be honest, I didn't watch enough of the original series to understand that relationship between Spock and the crew.
Well, Spock always fought his human side. Data was never human, but wanted to become human.
This is kind of a funny gag here with the finger traps.
Yep. And that was the last Outpost.
There it is. Well, there's the last Outpost. They had the guest stars, Mike Gomez, Damon Tarr.
And I have really got to clear my throat, so go ahead and...
We're going to clear the throats. So thank you very much. We'll be providing some contact info for the website. Yep. And we look forward to seeing you on the next episode of
Next Generation's First Generation.
That's very right. And I'm Sascha Shouties.
Patrick Delmore.
Signing off. If you'd like to contact us, you can find us on Facebook, Next Generation's First Generation Podcast. On iTunes, you can find us at Next Generation's First Generation, and our email address is nextgenfirstgenpod@gmail.com. Again, that's nextgenfirstgenpod@gmail.com.